Sean Hook's Newsmaker Saturday starts now.
Thanks for joining us on Newsmaker Saturday. The Republican Party nationally and locally is doing some deep reflection right now on its identity following a less than stellar midterm election. Former President Trump's endorsements had a huge impact on races in the primary. His chosen candidates largely won across the country in the primaries and here in Arizona. But those same candidates performed rather poorly in many general elections, many important elections. Former Republican candidate for governor in Arizona, Karrin Taylor Robson, is my guest on Newsmaker Saturday. Great to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
When you wake up in the morning, does it still hurt?
It does. Just the disappointment for what could have been.
When you look back on the race, President Trump's endorsements seemed to carry the day with Kari Lake. That really helped her over the finish line in the primary. How much did it hurt you personally? You raised money for him. You were a supporter of his, for him to endorse her and not you.
Well, in a multi-candidate race, the Trump endorsement matters a lot in a primary. Just the math is very, very difficult when you have, you split the vote 5 ways. But it hurt a lot. I mean, we raised a lot of money for President Trump.
In 16 and 20?
That's correct.
Both?
Both. We had, several members of his family into our home for events. My daughter worked for him at the White House. She turned the lights out on January 20th.
You've got to be kidding.
No.
I have not heard that story.
No. Yeah, my daughter worked for him. And, I defend his policies. I can't defend the behavior, in particular post-January 6th behavior, or post-election behavior, quite frankly. But it's disappointing that somebody who you were loyal to can just turn on a dime for their own, whatever reasons.
Did you seek his endorsement? Did you ask him? Did you personally say, I need you here?
No, I did not personally ask him.
Did you feel that was crossing some line?
I think, every one of the Republicans in the race, had to say, is his endorsement going to help you or hurt you? And of course it helps you in the primary, but then it's a double-edged sword, in particular in a state like Arizona, which, we essentially are, we have a third Republican, a third Democrat, and a third Independent. And so the calculation as to whether or not it will help you in the general wasn't that difficult, and clearly it didn't carry the day.
When he endorsed Kari Lake, did you think at that moment, I think we're really in a bad spot here in the primary?
I knew it would be a challenge and a hurdle, but again, I believe, we believed in our heart that we had the better message. I had a lot more experience to do the job so that I could start day one. I didn't need on-the-job training. And I believed if we could get, my name ID up to Kari Lake's name ID, as, she had a running head start of 27 years in the public eye. If I could get my name ID to where hers was, then people could really compare us and understand that I had the experience, the track record as a lifelong conservative Republican, businesswoman, and that would prevail.
Do you think now that Donald Trump is a drag on the Republican Party?
I do. Somebody said, and I like the analogy, there's fashion do's and fashion don'ts. Trump used to be a fashion do, and now overnight he's become a fashion don't.
That's interesting. Okay, so before we get to the future of the party, what was it like running against Kari Lake? Because this got very personal, very nasty. Did you kind of hold your fire until she opened the first salvos? I mean, she attacked your wealth, she attacked your husband.
Yeah, that was her MO. There was all the debate about the debates. And I will just say, for the record, Kari Lake does not debate. She attacks. She couldn't handle the issues substantively, and so she would just attack whoever she was facing, whether it's, her primary opponents or Katie Hobbs in the general, which, of course, they never met face-to-face.
Right.
But it's certainly not...
But you did debate her.
We did. Well, we had a debate, if you could call it that. We had multiple forums, and here's the interesting...
By the way, am I in the minority on this? I did not think that was as much of a train wreck as Katie Hobbs said it was. There were some things that came out of that were interesting, I thought.
Well, it wasn't, let's put it this way, it wasn't a traditional debate. And I wish, as a candidate, and for the voters of Arizona, I wish there were true opportunities for people to see the differences between us, to understand our ideological and philosophical differences, but also our experience and what we bring to the table. There was any number of forums throughout the campaign that Kari Lake did not show up at. Last count, there was like 12 forums she did not show up at, where the other candidates, myself included, showed up so the voters could hear more about the substance of the issues.
It seemed that as we've gone along, and I brought this up a few years ago, I think we're getting to a point where the candidates no longer trust the moderators to be impartial, so everybody's picking and choosing where they think they'll get a favorable treatment. Is that the long and short of it?
That's probably true.
Unfortunate. We may have to get family court judges to do these debates now.
Right,
How you do it. Okay, during the primary, weeks before the August primary, you were closing in on Kari Lake's lead. Then the state Democratic Party put out an email thanking you for past donations to Democratic candidates. They were clearly saying, if we can maybe knock Karrin Taylor Robson down a little bit, help Kari Lake, we think, the Democratic Party, we can beat Kari Lake. They may have had doubts about you. Is that fair?
That's fair, and it's true. We assume that to be true, but there's been evidence that has come out, at post primary that indicates that is in fact what they did. They saw the same numbers we saw, that Katie Hobbs could beat Kari Lake and Katie Hobbs could not beat me in the polling that we saw. So they saw that, and their strategy was to act on that, and they did spend money to help Kari Lake. I also know they followed me around for some time. They made public records requests at places that I had worked in the past because they wanted to find something on me.
This is the party, not journalists. Democratic Party?
Yes. Consultants for the Democrat Party.
Okay, step back for a minute. You've done a lot of things in your life. Why did you even get into this? And what does it portend for people thinking about? They want to serve. They want to contribute, but they look at it and they go, no, thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to run because I've been blessed my whole life with opportunities since I was 5 years old to work. And I grew up in a family where it was just modeled for us that you give back. I mean,
Your father, Carl Kanasic, was president of the Senate, the Arizona Senate, and a very successful, well-thought-of politician.
And I started going down to the Capitol in first grade. I'd follow him down there, and I learned a lot. I saw what it meant really to serve and to give back. And living in the world's greatest experiment in self-government, every single one of us is called to give back. At the end of the day, you can't take it with you. You got to leave it all on the field, and I was taught leave it better than you found it, and the skills and the experience I had just said you got to go do it.
Do you think your wealth repelled some voters where they said, she's not really one of us, she can't relate to us, she's really, really wealthy? Was that a hard hurdle to try to clear?
We tried to stick to our message while the other side kept trying to attack me. And the fact that you're attacked in America for your success, I started out at $1/4 an hour. I have worked just about every day of my life. I put myself through college. I had 5 jobs at one time, 1 semester during college. I mean, I did whatever I had to.
You weren't born wealthy,
No,
right?
no. And you know what? I thank God every day I wasn't, because it taught me, it gave me resilience and strength. You just get up and you keep going. And if, you work and you have a moral responsibility to take care of yourself and your family, and that's what I've done. And then to get attacked for being successful is really, an irony in America.
Do you believe had Matt Salmon dropped out of the race 2 weeks earlier and his name wasn't actually on the ballot, that you could have won the primary?
Well, I like to be the Monday morning quarterback like everybody and say yes. It certainly would have helped. I don't know if it would have made, the ultimate difference. But my hat's off to Matt for, he jumped in at the end and helped me. He traveled the state with me, endorsed me, and
Did he ever apologize to you and say, I should have gotten out earlier?
We never had that conversation, but
really?
we have not had that conversation. But I will just thank him for doing what he did.
So no animosity toward him for hanging in there as long as he did?
It would have been better if he hadn't. But I look back and say, if Matt had won, I'd have been right there for him. He is a lifelong...
You've known him a long time.
Yeah, he's a lifelong conservative Republican. He and his family have left it on the field many, many times, and so that matters today when people have spent their life trying to give back. You
know what people say out there. The word that you get from a lot of people is, had Karrin Taylor Robson won the primary, she would have beat Katie Hobbs maybe rather easily. You hear people say this. Number one, do you believe it? Number two, how disappointing is that if you believe it's true?
I do believe it's true because even though I am a solid conservative from a philosophical perspective and an ideological perspective, I talk to everybody, I work with everybody, I respect other people's opinions. In fact, I enjoy, debating and sparring with people that I don't agree with. So that just appeals to people, and we believe, and our polling showed, I would have had a relatively easy general election. If we won the primary, we would have likely won the general.
Given the state of economy and inflation and those things.
Right.
Okay. Last week, let's talk about the future of the party. Last week, you called on Republican Party Chairwoman Kelly Ward to resign. You called her an unmitigated disaster. She weighed in on the primary, and I cannot recall a time when a party chairperson got involved in a race. Usually they stay out of it. They're agnostic. They may not be personally, but they stay out of it, and they don't try to put their thumb on the scale. When she was really backing Kari Lake, did you ever have a conversation and say, what are you doing?
Well, we certainly raised the red flag because it was inappropriate. A party chair has a few very, very clear jobs: register voters, raise money, and recruit candidates, and turn out the vote. I mean, those four things are what they should do. They should not be picking sides in a primary, and Kelly Ward did that. And she has been an unmitigated disaster. And when I put out my statement last week, I thought all I was doing was stating the obvious.
Do you want that job?
No. No.
That's not why you said it.
No.
You weren't angling for her job.
No.
That does not interest you?
And that is not my area of expertise. I know what I'm good at. And I know, where I can make a difference. That's not a job that I want. But I will tell you that if we can turn this Republican Party around, if we can elect a strong leader of the state party, I'll be in there helping every way I can.
Can this be done without pulling Trump support back in? I mean, you're talking about kind of reverting to what some people call the country club, Chamber of Commerce Republican Party. Is that gone? I mean, this party strikes me that it's now appealing to a working class.
Well, I came from a working class background. And nobody's going to outwork me for the rest of my life. I'll never retire. I love to work. I love giving back. So I like to refer to the Republicans that would like to have a seat at the table as the real Republicans, the Republicans that have been around for decades. And there are a lot of young kids today who have those traditional core conservative values. What we see in today's Arizona GOP is fealty to one man. I want a party that has fealty to principles, to core conservative principles.
You hear Republicans say they loved the policies, they weren't crazy about the Trump bluster. It made people uncomfortable. I think the evidence of that is in 2020, people wonder why Donald Trump lost. There were 30,000 voters who voted mainly Republican on their ballot and left the presidential blank. That tells you they are predisposed to vote Republican and they couldn't vote for him.
That's right. And I think you saw that play out again in 2022. Republican policies are good policies. They work. I mean, just look at Arizona, right? We have been run by a Republican governor and a Republican legislature for over a decade now. Our economy is on fire. We have the lowest flat tax in the nation. Businesses are coming here. Capital investment is being made here. And those policies work. Low tax, low regulatory environment, that works. So the Republicans don't have the policies wrong. We got our politics wrong.
Do you want to run again?
4 years is a lifetime in politics. I will keep all my options open. I'm focused now on getting back to business and spending much needed time with my family.
Is there unfinished business, do you feel, for you in the political world?
I'm
trying a couple of different ways here.
I know. I am going to use whatever God-given talents I have to give back to my community in whatever capacity that may be.
Karrin Taylor Robson, good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your time. We're back in a moment on Newsmaker Saturday.
Three, two, one. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis 1. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
To infinity and beyond. It's incredible. It really is. The 25-day Artemis 1 mission to the moon. The imagery has been spectacular already. We're even getting some pictures of the moon now as Artemis 1 and now the Orion capsule is making its way around. And it's a mission that will last 25.5 days. And then it will finally conclude on December 11th. It will have traveled, that spacecraft, 1.3 million miles. And ASU is thoroughly involved with this mission. ASU professor Craig Hardgrove, he's joined us before on Newsmaker Saturday talking about this mission that will eventually lead up to a trip to the moon and then beyond. Craig, great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So far, so good. We're taping, Thanksgiving week, but as of now, everything looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, we deployed about 5.5 hours after launch. We immediately heard from the spacecraft. All the systems are nominal. We're able to talk to each of our subsystems and send commands. And we saw that our instrument is really healthy and doing well. We got a lunar flyby data set just the other day when shortly after Orion flew by the moon, we did too. And we turned on our instrument and saw neutrons from the moon in our detectors light up as we got closer, and then get dimmer as we went away. And so everything on the spacecraft is doing really well. It's a teeny, it's the size of a large shoebox, and it's kind of incredible to see it on its way performing its mission. And so everything on the spacecraft is, at this point capable of achieving the mission. And we are focusing on getting our propulsion system ignited so that we can get ourselves into lunar orbit right now.
Yeah, so there's two separate things going on. Right now, we're looking at pictures from the Orion, looking at moon and then back toward Earth, and that's incredible. It got within about 81 miles of the moon.
Yeah.
For the people, I don't want to get into Capricorn 1, but for the people who still go, I don't think we really went there. You're actually going to, at some point, you're going to be able to look down and see our landing spots for Apollo, correct? Orion will get a look at that.
Yes, I believe so. Yes, absolutely. There's an American flag there. There's footprints that we've taken pictures of from lunar orbit. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to see some direct evidence of
cool.
Human activity on the moon.
Okay, now, we talked about Orion kind of slingshotting around the moon, and it's going on this circuitous orbit. And you're really kind of stress testing Orion, but beyond that, and you talked about it, this is the part that ASU's involved in is the Luna H map. We're going to show that video. This is a deployment of what you described as shoebox size. What are they? They're probes, satellites? They're spacecraft.
Yeah, it's a fully functional spacecraft. Normally, spacecraft are the size of a school bus. Ours is the size of a shoebox with all the same type of technology that makes a spacecraft go crammed into a shoebox.
So it's really incredible
to see it all working.
There's a bunch of those doing different things, right? But yours with ASU is designed to do what?
So ours, the goal is to map water ice at the south pole of the moon. And so in order to do that, we have to use a small propulsion system to get ourselves into orbit around the moon. And then we have to use a neutron detector that we developed at ASU to map the neutrons that are leaking out of the lunar south pole. And we look for changes in the number of neutrons that are leaking out of the lunar south pole to tell us about how much ice is below the spacecraft. So,
why is it important?
Yeah, they all, like you said, they all have different missions. They're all really exciting missions that they're conducting. And they're also very new. These are, in many cases, just a fraction of a % of a traditional NASA mission budget. These are high-risk, high-reward technologies that I think a lot of people are very excited about being incorporated into Artemis 1.
Craig, bottom line this for me. Why is it so important for us to figure out about water, potentially ice, on the south pole of the moon?
Yeah, I think geologically, right, planetary science, we don't entirely understand why there's so much water in the inner solar system. And we actually see a lot of ice in the craters on Mercury. And we see less ice in the craters in the poles of the moon. And so why it's there will tell us something about why we have so much water on the surface of the Earth, even when the moon was formed in this big impact with a Mars-sized planet billions of years ago. And so, we're trying to understand and reconstruct what was going on and why there is a lot of water in some places in the inner solar system and not in other places. And that's going to tell us some things about why there's life in certain places and why there's not. But And a more human level, we really want to understand where to go on the surface of the moon. You know, with Apollo, astronauts went to the moon and then they came home just a matter of hours or days later. But with Artemis, we want to send astronauts to stay or have a permanent presence in lunar orbit. And so that requires a lot of new technologies and finding things like water that will help sustain a human presence in orbit and on the surface of the moon. And so we need to look for different things like water that we weren't looking for with Apollo.
I don't want to turn this into a political thing, but I'm curious, are we in some kind of vague space race with China to get to the moon? We've already done it. I mean, been there, done that, but they're trying as well, aren't they?
They're certainly doing a lot of incredible things. I know they have a lunar rover that's been very successful. They are planning lunar missions. I'm a scientist, so I stay at all that stuff. I'm excited about the science that they're doing, but I leave the politics to the politicians. Okay,
so you are communicating with your Luna H map, your little probe, your little spacecraft that's going to check out the south pole of the moon. When you're communicating with it, how much of a lag is there? Because you're talking more than 260,000 miles away.
Yeah, we have a really excellent radio. It's the same one that was used on a small spacecraft that went out to Mars, and that spacecraft had a several-minute delay. Where we are right now, we're seeing around a second or less of light time delay. Yeah, so we'll send a command, and right away, we'll see that command was seen by the spacecraft and was executed successfully. So it's really incredible to be talking to it and seeing, you know, it behaves exactly as it behaved in the lab at ASU, which is really pretty incredible to see.
Can you come help us here at Fox 10? Sometimes we have delays on these satellites, you know, that go on for seconds. It's really weird. You guys can get it 260,000 miles away in less than a second. That is incredible.
Yeah. I'll get you the radio we're using. It works well.
Great. I know a guy who'd want it. Neil Wolf would want that. Okay, so when we get through this, the next mission, by the way, your mission will continue, the HSAT, that will, or HMAP, that'll continue even after Orion comes home.
That's right. Yep.
Next step in this is then to land, right, on the moon?
LunaMap will be orbiting the moon.
Right, but
so
I mean, when
right now we're in a state where we need to ignite our propulsion system around before the end of the year so that we can eventually enter a lunar orbit and make those maps that we were talking about of water ice at the South Pole. So that's what we're focusing on right now, is making sure that we can ignite the propulsion system and complete our science mission.
But in terms of the Orion and Artemis project, the next launch, you're planning to get to the moon with people. How long now? What are we thinking?
That's a great question. I know Artemis 2 is the next planned Artemis launch. Will carry a pair of astronauts that will fly in the Orion capsule around the moon and come home. It'll basically be a similar profile to this mission, except with human astronauts on board. And then Artemis 3, the intention is to land a group of astronauts at the south pole of the moon. They've chosen 13 different landing sites or potential landing sites for those astronauts. And, you know, I hope that we see that potentially by the end of the decade. But I think that as we, you know, now that we have Artemis 1 nearly complete and we see, you know, what happens with the Orion capsule, I know one of the major goals with Orion is to see how it does on reentry, descent, and splashdown. So they're going to take a look at that data when Orion comes back and make an assessment for what needs to happen to get them ready for Artemis 2 and Artemis 3. And then I think they're going to set some real timetables for that. But like I said, I hope that it's, you know, with it by the end of the decade, we're going to see human beings, first woman, first person of color, walking around the surface of the moon. It should be an incredible thing.
Yeah, it's going to be great. ASU Professor Craig Hardgrove, we appreciate your time. We saw the pictures of the Moonikins, which are just mannequins with sensors inside that the Orion capsule. So that's what that is. It's not people, but they are kind of, it's the next step before we send people up. Craig, great to see you. Happy holidays.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll do it again.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Great to see you. We're back in a moment on Newsmaker Saturday.